Okay, guys, today is marketing and branding for real estate agents. This is one of my favorite topics. I believe this is one of the critical foundational type of activities that real estate agents should do. When we start in real estate, of course, we're like, I just need leads. I need to, figure out how to write a contract and sell houses. But really, if we're going to build a long-term sustainable business in real estate, I believe that our brand, our marketing, and whatever advertising we're doing is part of the critical aspect. And I'm going to share with you everything that I know about marketing and branding. I'm a huge proponent, huge believer in it. I think it's one of the most important things that we have. I always like to start off this with my good buddy, Steve Jobs. My good buddy. This guy is a marketing genius. And so whenever I usually think about marketing and branding and advertising, I usually think about Steve Jobs and the job that he did at Apple and creating such an amazing brand. And, is it the best stuff in the world? Is it the most intuitive stuff? Is it the most market share? No, but he certainly knows how to make us want things that we didn't know that we wanted, and it's a pretty amazing thing. So anyways, when it comes to marketing and branding, I think he's definitely one of the best. I like this quote, so I put it in here. Jim Mullen said, when you look at a strong brand, you see a promise. And I want you to think about that as we kind of slide along in this session today. So a little bit about my background and why I believe so much in marketing and branding and why I really enjoy it. In our previous business, prior to being in real estate sales, we oversaw in our business about $1 million a year advertising and marketing budget. And I was in charge of that entire brand. I was in charge of the marketing side of things. I was in charge of the advertising. During that time, we generated thousands and thousands of leads. I created a sales funnel. I had a whole process of getting and capturing leads, following up with those leads. I had a whole sales team, about 8 staff members who were in charge of sales. I had a sales manager, and then I had sales associates. And, we converted, I did presentations. I'd worked with some of the best marketing agencies in North America. I used the same ad agency that did the WestJet branding of We Care, and we're owners, that whole WestJet Cares brand that they created. I mean, that was how WestJet really took off. And I used the same company for my marketing and advertising. We had an entire statistics group that was doing all of our statistics. So they were doing analytics on all of our advertising, what was working, what wasn't working. They would do surveys, brand strategy surveys. I got really into it. I love it. I love marketing. I love branding. In 2009, though, as many of you know our story, our business fell victim to the global economic collapse that was happening in 08, 09. And not only did we lose our company, but we lost our brand. And our brand was like my third child. I really loved it. I loved our brand and I stood behind it. It was like our rallying cry. And when we lost that, I remember just kind of thinking, so we can't do anything with this logo anymore? I would love this. It was a really heartbreaking time for me anyways, losing our brand and our experience. But, that experience really taught me a lot. It taught me, to not be that attached to our brand, but it also taught me what works and what doesn't work. So now I've had experience with nearly every form of advertising, from newspaper, billboards, radio, TV, online ads, everything. So putting all this experience and then moving from that, where we had this, working with top ad agencies, working all this stuff, and pivoting into real estate sales, you would think that with all of that experience, we would create a super unique ad campaign, begin marketing ourselves throughout the local real estate market, and just generate thousands of leads and just crush it again, right? The reality was that we didn't, and we completely changed our philosophy from that to let's see what we can do without advertising. And the reason why we did that is we didn't have any money. So when we lost our business and lost the company, not only did we lose that brand, but we lost all our money. I mean, we were drained physically, mentally, financially drained. And we knew that we had to generate business somehow, but we didn't have any money to be able to do that. So I couldn't run ads. I couldn't print flyers. We couldn't do any of that. So instead, my beautiful wife and partner, Simone, she decided to spend our last $1,000 on real estate training, and which is why I'm still such a big proponent of real estate training. And what that did is allowed us to learn how to generate real estate sales without advertising, without spending money to make money in real estate. And it is absolutely possible. So we really had no choice. I mean, if it was a choice of ours, we probably would have just ran ads and generated a ton of leads and kept on doing what we knew was working. But we didn't really have a choice. And so our philosophy was that, hey, maybe once our sales were to pick up in real estate, we could start advertising again and take our business to that next level. I think what we learned at the end of the day is we actually didn't really need to do the advertising, but so if I don't believe in advertising, why am I running a session on marketing and advertising and branding? Well, that's a great question. And that's what we're hopefully going to get to understand. And just for the record, I do believe in advertising and I really think it works. So we'll talk about all of that today. I'm going to share with you a lot of golden nuggets and I'm excited about it. So let's get started. We're going to really kind of focus on advertising versus marketing versus branding. So what is advertising, what's marketing, and what is your brand? And we're going to go through those three things. First, number one, advertising is really just a payment for a placement of marketing materials. So you're paying someone to place your marketing materials. That is advertising. And whether you pay someone or you do it yourself, like say you print off some flyers and you go and hand them out yourself, you're paying yourself essentially that time to be able to do that. That's advertising. Advertising is kind of forcing your message out into the general public, right? There's several different types of advertising categories, could loosely be categorized into print. And print is, newspapers, flyers, brochures, those community little newsletters that go out, those kind of things. Digital is all the online, anything that goes on in a digital, so it could be even like digital billboards and things these days. Print and billboards would be another consideration for print, although they do them digitally now too. Radio advertising, which is, not done as much, but boy, is it ever still effective. Holy macro, I can't believe the effectiveness. Everybody thinks, oh, everybody's online all the time, 24/7, but you wouldn't believe the metrics on radio. Television, same thing. Television's another one that's become more and more affordable for people, but you have to put together some kind of commercial for that, right? So TV, radio, digital, print, those are some of the types of advertising that you can do. The key though, you have to have your marketing in place before you can run any ads. You can't just say, okay, I want to be on TV, go, unless you're just doing an interview. But in general, you have to have some sort of brand, some kind of logo, some kind of like marketing piece, some graphics, some design. You have to have something before you get into the ads. So there's kind of a hierarchy of you need the marketing before you can do the advertising. So you don't start with advertising, you actually kind of start with the marketing, right? What about a call to action? So do you use a call to action on every piece of advertising that you do? Or not. Now, what is a call to action? A call to action is, you've seen it in real estate. Looking for a home evaluation, call me. My number is this. Or looking for a free home valuation, text me or email me or, find me on social or whatever. There's like a call to action. I want you to do something. And that's the most literal form of advertising. It's like a classified ad, right? I'm selling this, call me to buy it. And then you get kind of this more soft branding or soft advertising, which is just, Pablo sells homes, and you just put this message out there, Pablo sells homes. Or you might say, Pablo, the pet lovers realtor, and you just put it out there and you're just trying to let people who have pets know that I'm the realtor that deals with people with pets, versus a call to action would be like, are you a pet lover and need a bigger home for your dog? Call me, right? That's a call to action. So usually if you are working with some sort of ad agency or you're working with people who do ads for you, there's going to be some strategy as to whether or not you put a call to action on everything. I always say like a billboard, for example, on the side of the road. You don't need to put your phone number on the billboard because nobody stops at the billboard, looks up and goes, wait a second, honey, we're just stopped the car. I want to write down the phone number of this realtor I just saw on this billboard. It doesn't really happen that way. So things that you're going to like in passing that people blow by, maybe even the bus benches and the billboards and anything that people are just whipping by, driving by, you got to think that there's a different ad strategy to those than there is something that they would see in print or on their screen. Like anything on your computer is going to be call to action 100%. It's like click here to get something for free or click here to get a valuation. Whereas billboards, bus benches, everything, it's just, I'm just showing a presence. I want to get some sort of message out to people, but it's not necessarily stop the car, pick up the thing here. My old coach used to laugh at realtors doing bus benches. And he says, bus benches are the worst form of advertising for realtors because the type of people that hang out at bus benches, they have to take the bus and they can barely afford even a car to get back and forth to work. And I said, well, it's not quite how that works, but okay, I get your point. Anyways, he thought bus benches were the funniest form of advertising that real estate agents do. Next thing is, do you focus on one source or multiple sources? Now, what are these sources? The sources can be like geography. It could be type of media that you do. So do you, for example, just use billboards everywhere? I'm just going to spend $6,000, $10,000 a month. I'm just going to blast the area with billboards and that's it. Or do you do, hey, I'm going to do some billboards, some online ads and some print media and kind of massage it in a strategic way, right? Or do you hit just one neighborhood, one community with like a targeted farm that you're going to be going after, or do you go after like the broad spectrum? I'm going all over the place, right? One thing that I learned in my previous business, because we were doing investments and we were looking for people to invest, is very quickly your ad spend can go nuts because it's like, wow, we could get investors in. We were in Alberta. I said, we could get investors in BC or Saskatchewan and then Toronto. And so we started advertising in different markets, but then you start to spread thin. You don't get as much concentration versus if you just blast one area with a ton of advertising, billboards, print, it's like everywhere you go, you see it. And so there's a strategy basically on whether or not you go one source or multiples. My dad is a great example of this. He started advertising in what's called Avenue magazine here in Calgary. He's a jeweler. He runs this little goldsmithing jewelry that he's owned for years and years and years. And about, I'd say 15 years ago, he started running a little, quarter page or fifth page ad in Avenue magazine. And he did that once a month and every month, and it was the same ad. And then, every year or two, he would kind of change up the ad a little bit and just tweak it a little bit. And he's been running it for 15 years. The guy generates most of his business off that one little ad. And it's just because he's been consistent for 12, 15 years. Now, most of us, when we start advertising, it's almost like getting into the stocks or crypto. It's like, I want to make money now. I want to buy something and it goes up like crazy. So you want advertising and you go, I want to buy into some kind of advertising that it's going to like immediate results. I need 1,000 leads like next week, right? The thought of going, okay, I'm going to budget $2,000 a month on some advertising, and I'm going to budget that for the next 4 years. And, someday that'll grow my business in 4 years. Most of us want the results right now, right? So you have to really kind of consider, do you concentrate? Do you focus on one area? And for some people, like I'm thinking of some agents that I can think of off the top of my head right now, who've been tremendously successful farming a certain area. And they have just blasted a neighborhood or a couple of neighborhoods or a little like trifecta of neighborhoods. And they just said, look, we're just going to advertise and hammer on those areas. And they've been really successful with that. When Simone and I, for example, looked to promote our business and kind of put our message out there, we went all over the place. So we really spread ourselves thin, but we were kind of everywhere. It's really just trying to get the message out to, and it's harder to do than it is in a concentrated area, but you also open up a lot of other doors. So it really kind of depends on what you want to do. Next question is, who is your audience when you're advertising? You have to really consider that is, are you looking for sellers? Are you looking for buyers? Are you looking for both? So is the message that you're putting in your advertising, is it call me for a home evaluation, or is it looking to buy a home in this neighborhood, call me? Because that's looking for two different types of people. And so the messages that you use, depending on whether you're looking for buyers or sellers, has got to be tailored to that, right? So if your message is looking to buy or sell a property, call me, that just says I'm a kind of jack of all trades, do it all realtor, call me. If your message is I'm the neighborhood specialist and I've been selling in this area for 25 years, then the message is that you're the one to go to who's most knowledgeable about this community. So you have to really think about what's the message that you're trying to get out there and what is your target audience. So for example, Simone, whenever we promoted Simone or put her name out there, we titled her as a listing agent. And it was like, if you're looking to sell your home, I'm the one who can help you sell your home. And we really didn't promote to buyers. We only promoted or advertised to sellers, because buyers are actually kind of easier to get, right? Like you go do some open houses, you go do, put some messages out there. It's a good chance you can find some buyers out there, but sellers and listings, which we know is where the money's at long-term, that was a little harder to get. So we focused all our advertising, all our messages towards sellers. Couple of things about advertising. So for sure, 100%, the only job of advertising, and it should be your only focus if you're going to be advertising, is to generate leads. That is the only thing that the advertising is there for, is to generate leads. So if all of your message is around, say, billboards, and you're like, the pet lover's realtor, Pablo Galvez, and you just put that out there and it's got a picture of you with a dog and a cat and everything, and you're just there, and that's your message out there, and you do nothing else, you're not going to generate leads from your advertising. What you want to do is you want to have multiple different forms of advertising. Some of them are just the drive-by validation. Oh yeah, I've seen that name, that Pablo and pet lover, and I've seen that so many times that I drive home from work, or I, go through my little commute or whatever it is. And then you follow it up with a flyer that comes to their house with the same kind of look and image. And there's the picture of Pablo and the pets and everything. He's like, yeah, I've seen that. I know it. I feel comfortable with it. Now I want to call. Now I'm ready to take action. Or you see it on your Facebook, or you see it somewhere, and all of a sudden it's like, bam, it ties in together. But you have to have your advertising working together to generate leads, okay? Do not let advertising become part of your ego, that you advertise only to blast your ego out there. This is not what advertising is for. It's not there to make yourself seem bigger than other realtors, or because you see other realtors doing it and you feel like maybe I should be doing it too, and so I should just go and run some bus benches because everybody else does that. Don't let it be about your ego. Let it be about generating leads. Let it be about your strategy, your whole advertising and brand strategy, right? Another thing I can tell you about advertising is it absolutely works, okay? When I was paying, and again, $60,000, $70,000 per month of advertising that we were doing, and we were generating thousands of leads. I mean, it was crazy, the number of leads. If the more money you spend, the more leads you're going to get in advertising, guaranteed. If you want 500 leads a month as the real estate agent, it's going to cost you around $5,000 a month, and you'll probably generate 500 leads per month in real estate. Now, we're going to talk in another session about what to say and how to handle and manage those leads, okay, in the lead follow-up and management of all the leads. But it's not about just generating those kind of leads, because it's always about the net. How much are you netting at the end of the day? If you're spending $5,000 a month to generate 500 leads and it's turning into 0 deals a month, then your net is going to go completely out of line. You can't spend that kind of money. Now, I don't want people saying, well, I generate one deal a month from $5,000 a month of advertising. And that one deal, it makes me $7,000. So I'm netting $2,000 a month. But how much time and effort are you putting into generating the advertising, managing it, overseeing it, following up with all those leads just to get that extra $2,000 a month? It's not worth it. So you need to be, usually it's like a 5X multiple. Like if you're spending $5,000 a month on advertising, you should be earning about $25,000 a month in deals. So think about like a 4 to 5 times multiple, so that your cost of getting your business should be around that 20, 25%, maybe 30% at the most. All right. So you have to be thinking of leveraging your money. And if it's not generating that, and this is what happened in our business, is that, we were spending money getting leads, turning it into tremendous cash. It was great. The minute that the market slowed down, what happened to the leads? The leads slowed down. So in real estate, all we care about is that people are transacting. If the average price of a home goes down by 10%, it's not going to affect us too much. If the average price of the home goes up by 10%, it's not going to affect us too much, right? If the number of homes selling drops by 50%, our business is going to go down 50%. And it's a huge impact on our business. And it happens. So the market slows down, people get freaked out, they panic, oh, the economy, this and that. And what do? They stop selling, they stop buying. They just stop all the activity. And it can go down 50, 60, 80% like that. And what's the natural inclination is you say, well, I got to cut expenses as a realtor. And one of the easiest expenses to cut is your advertising. So you cut your advertising, the leads stop, your business slows down, everything slows down, and it just starts to collapse. And that's the reality of what happens. Okay. Advertising is really not necessary for success. You can get success without it, but it can definitely help your business. I want to point out something that I always think is funny is real estate agents. I remember this in our market. Real estate agents, they would promote in their sales package, listing presentation, whatever. They would tell clients, I spend $10,000 a month on advertising for your home. Like I'm advertising your home for sale, and I'm advertising. It's so important to be honest and clear with people. You do not advertise to sell people's homes. Almost every single home sells because it's on the MLS or they're showing it by a realtor. Okay. A home does not sell because somebody's browsing Instagram one day and this house pops up and they're like, hey, I wasn't even thinking of moving, but man, this house looks really amazing. No, it might stimulate them to think about moving, but they're going to go and look at all the houses in the neighborhood and they're going to pick a house, right? So all the advertising that we do is to generate leads for our business, to grow my business. We may leverage somebody's house by advertising it, but only to generate more leads for buyers and sellers who are going to maybe be looking for something similar to that. So I just think it's BS. I think it's a lot like open houses. Like I do open houses to sell your house. The open houses aren't going to sell your house. I'm looking for new leads, right? Okay, so moving on from advertising, because I don't want to dwell on advertising too much, and I want to move into marketing. So what is marketing? Marketing is the materials that support your brand. So we talked about having to have marketing materials in order to even advertise or to get started. So you have to have marketing. And examples of marketing materials are like business cards, folders, brochures, pens, notepads, paper clips, in my case, anything that is physical that your clients may see, okay? It could be also your online profile, your banners and your headers on your Facebook, Instagram, whatever, like how you kind of promote yourself, your website, your bio. This is all part of your marketing, right? So simply put, these marketing services or the marketing pieces that you have, they're there to strengthen your brand, okay? While advertising is there to create more presence and generate those actual leads. So your marketing materials should support your brand. They should support the overall feel and the messages that you are communicating to the clients. If you don't have your own brand, you can simply, like you want to create marketing materials and you don't have your own brand, you can use your company brand. So if you're with Remax, Century 21, EXP, Banana Realty, whatever, usually your company is going to have its own brand, and you can just leverage that. In fact, with most of the big franchises, they really discourage you to have your own personal brand. And so it's like, you got to go with the company brand, and that's okay, because that's what the company brand is there for. I mean, they want to obviously build the company brand, and that's okay. So if you don't have something to get started with, just use the company brand. It's okay. But I'm going to show you today a little bit more about personal branding, about what you can do to create your own brand. So that leads us, and we're going to touch back on marketing, but I want to kind of go through, we talked about advertising. Now we talked about marketing and what marketing is. Marketing is like the physical manifestation and kind of thing, like the things. And then the advertising is the promotion of those things. But what is your brand? So your brand is this. Your brand is the non-verbal communication to potential clients, demonstrating who you are, what you stand for, and what you believe in. Now, this is a really important quote, you guys. Think about all the little words that are in here. Non-verbal communication. This is not your logo. Your logo is your marketing. What's your brand? It's the non-verbal communication to potential clients, your leads, your potential, right? Demonstrating who you are, not what your brand is or what colors you use. Who are you? What do you stand for as a human being, as a real estate agent? What do you stand for? This is where it's really important. And what do you believe in? And this is where you're going to use your marketing to communicate to people without saying directly, I'm the pet lover's realtor, right? You're going to communicate to people what you stand for, who you are, what you believe in. And this definitely extends way beyond all of your print materials. It's you, it's how you act, how you dress, what you drive, etc. And the question then becomes, how do you want people, your potential clients, how do you want them to see you? Great news is you get to create this. This is something that you can leverage who you are already. You can create somebody new. This is like, going to school in a new jurisdiction for the first day. It's like nobody knows who you are, and you can let people know who you are, right? So because it extends beyond, I want to look at some logos just as a start, okay? And this is 4 different logos. There's the luxury emblem, the Woodruff. These are all fictitious, okay? Woodruff Real Estate Group, Marie Dawn Luxury Homes, and Laura Owens. When you look at these logos, does this not give you a sense of like 4 different brands, 4 different feelings, 4 different like emotions with these, right? When you look at the Woodruff logo, for example, the gray with the red, right? Does it imply male or female in your mind? Does it imply male or female? Like, does that have a feminine or a masculine kind of sway to it? Does it feel like it's a younger person or an older person? Is it a hands-on, approachable agent, or is that a large team of competent staff, right? So there's all these feelings and emotions and nonverbal cues that we can look at just from looking at Woodruff. We can determine in our mind a picture of what that realtor, that company, et cetera, may be. How about Laura Owens, the bottom left there, right? What do you envision when you think Laura as an agent, right? What kind of person do you envision? What does she look like? Obviously it's a female, right? Laura. What does she look like? How old is she? Maybe because of the soft lines and the logo and the scripted font and the flowers, she might come across as maybe a more approachable and casual, maybe more middle-aged, right? Maybe takes this kind of really hands-on, one at a time approach. So you get these certain emotions that come from the look and feel of the brand. How about the luxury emblem? I mean, that's pretty black and white, isn't it, right? There's a stigma of a type of agent who uses a logo like this. Probably either, could be older or younger, but, probably ambitious, well-dressed, little slightly egocentric person, maybe drives a luxury vehicle. And those are the important things to them. They maintain a certain image, right? They've got this kind of luxury thing going on. It just screams it right in the name and the logo. And how about Marie Dawn? Fresh, maybe modern logo designs, got some crisp lines, neutral colors. It's got a serif font. And if you don't know serif and sans serif, like the word brands is sans serif, and serif is the little edges on the top and the bottom of the fonts. So when you look at the W in the Woodruff and it's got the little edges on the top, that's a serif font, and the word brands is sans serif, right? So a little bit of, so a serif font is usually going to portray a little bit more like a traditional look, where a sans serif is going to be a little bit more modern. So this can help when you're designing your logo with your designer. These are things to think about. Like, do you want to use a sans serif? Do you want to go more like modern, sleek, etc., or do you want to go more traditional, more neutral, flowery in houses? Is it more? It's got to match your character. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. So a brand isn't just a logo, a website, or your business cards. It's an experience. So your brand is going to, this is like your nonverbal thing. This is the experience of how a client is seeing everything about you and what they're experiencing from you. Let's do another little exercise. Let's look at these 4 people, okay? And this is talking about your image, like how you portray yourself to the public, like in physical form, on social media, how you're dressing, how you're putting yourself out there in social media. So here you see some agents, and some are more casual, maybe more family oriented. Some are friendly in their style choices, right? So you look at this dude on the left, he looks like pretty sharp. And I just stole some random images from the internet, but he's got the boutonniere, so he's probably at a wedding, but he's, kind of sharp, put together guy. He's got the beard going. Then you got the next guy who's like a little bit more business casual. He's got the tie, but he's got jeans on, a little bit more scruffy, scraggly hair. Then you've got this lady in a nice suit, nice posture. She's tall, but she's got her arms crossed. And again, even the way that you stand in your photos is going to portray the image that you have. And then you got the lady on the right side there, and she's, again, she just comes across as somebody who would just be your best friend, and working on a deal, it'd be like just pleasure to talk to, and probably knows her stuff, right? So now if I brought those 4 logos back, can you see how you could actually probably draw a line to the logo that matches the person? And I'm kind of curious as to what you think. Like, if you look at these 4 and you kind of say, well, where would I match Laura Owens? Which one looks most like Laura Owens? I mean, obviously it's going to be one of the 2 on the right. Which one comes across as more casual, flowery, scripty font? I mean, to me, it's the girl on the right. And if I go all the way over to the right and I look at Marie Dawn, I mean, it's like, she means business, neutral colors, sharp, modern, right? And then I might think, of course, the luxury emblem, that's the guy on the left. I mean, he's like, even just by the location of where he's shot that. I mean, the guy with the long hair, although it looks like a nice property, it doesn't really look like luxury like the other guys got, So your logo and your look is really going to give people this sense instantly of the type of person that you are and your brand. This is why your brand is, well, your brand's really important, but this is why your logo and how you dress and the type of photos that you do is so important, because it's all going to communicate this message instantly. And people, you always hear that line of you only get one chance to make a first impression and all that, right? It's so important because people are going to judge you. They're going to judge you from your photos. They're going to judge you from the first time they see you. And they're going to think things. They're going to say things. Maybe that guy's got, I don't know if we want that guy with the long hair, honey, because I don't know. He just looks too young. That guy sitting on the couch, I don't know. That doesn't, he just looks too staunchy for me. Oh, that lady with the suit, I don't know. Just, so they're going to judge you, right? Based on your look, your appearance, your hair, your clothing, in the photographs that you take. They're going to judge you. How about the car you drive? How is that important? Is it important what you drive? And I've heard this numerous times on the Facebook forums and everything. It's like, is it important what car you drive? And everybody's like, no, it doesn't matter. And, you should be you, and don't worry about what you drive and whatever, just the car's there to get you from A to B. But hey, let's look at these 6 cars. Okay. What if you show up at a listing presentation in a silver minivan, and the next agent pulls up in a Lamborghini, a yellow Lamborghini of all things? Couldn't be more opposite than those two. When you have 2 real estate agents, one pulls up in the Lamborghini, one pulls up in the Honda Odyssey, what are you thinking? And I'm going to be completely honest here. Some people might be thinking, yellow Lamborghini guy probably has a huge ego, don't want to deal with them and all that. And yet the person that was driving the minivan, that good on them. They're a family person. They got values. And those are sweet minivans. Like, I've seen them and they're like 60 grand. I mean, they're not cheap. And so the perception may be that that person's, and another client might have the complete opposite. Like, what, this realtor drives a minivan? Oh no, I'm going with the guy with the yellow Lamborghini. I mean, obviously they know what they're doing, and they're sharp and much more successful, obviously, right? So there's perceptions, and I'm not saying to anyone that whatever you're driving, it just doesn't work, and you should change vehicles, and you should be in a luxury vehicle and all. No, absolutely not. But you should think about the vehicle that you drive and whether or not it fits your brand. If you're driving the convertible Beetle, what's your brand? Do you think that luxury guy on the left there, do you think he drives a convertible Beetle? Probably not. Do you think Laura Owens on the right there might drive a convertible Beetle? Yeah, super cute. It's funky, it's casual, right? So it's going to fit her brand. And, long hair dude with the jeans there, maybe he drives that Toyota 4Runner or whatever that is. And that's his, it's kind of like rugged, casual, but it also kind of dresses up nice, right? So everybody's got a different style of vehicle. And I do believe that it is part of your brand. And so it is actually something that is important to consider when you're looking at your vehicle. Does it fit your brand? Does it fit your overall brand? Okay. So I know that might be controversial for some people, but okay. I said the great news is you get to create your brand and your image and whatever you want to be. Whatever it's going to be, your brand has to be authentic. You cannot be someone that you are not. If you're not the luxury, flashy person, don't pretend to be that. Okay. It doesn't mean you can't sell luxury homes. You can sell luxury homes, and you can create a brand that says, I can sell luxury homes, but it doesn't have to be, boutonniere, suit and tie, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be that. But if you're most comfortable with that, and you like doing that, and you go to fundraisers on the weekend just for fun, maybe that's the brand for you. But the great news is you get to create it, and you get to kind of look at everything that you're doing and portraying to people and create this amazing brand. It could be casual, approachable. Do you want to go flashy or neutral? So neutral would be like appealing to the masses, being around a lot of different people. Flashy is like out there. You are letting everybody know that you are you, and you're like driving the yellow Hummer or whatever. You're just like, you're out there, and you got the wild hair, the wild clothes, and you're more flashy, maybe more expressive, right? Some people are going to gravitate to that, and other people may not. So sometimes being more neutral might appeal to more people. Okay. There's going to be a small number of people that appreciate the flashy though. So maybe be flashy. Are you going to be wild or professional, casual or obvious? I mean, these are all kind of things, right? My general rule for fashion, for real estate, I think it's really important. I said here, never underdress. Okay. So my general rule is this: it's always better to be overdressed. You never want to show up to a listing appointment in like jeans and sneakers and kind of super casual, and your clients just got home from work and they're in suits. It can be pretty uncomfortable. So I had this philosophy is I am showing up, I'm serious about my job, I'm serious about my appointments, I'm serious about my career. And so I take it seriously by dressing the part. And I always wore Hugo Boss suits. That was my favorite. but I got them at the outlet store. I'm not going and spending $1,500 a suit. It's just not in my character. But I go to the outlet store, I get like last year's suits. They still look good, and looks good. They fit me well. And that's all important is in a suit is that it fits you right. And I wore a suit. And would I wear a tie? Yeah, if it was an important meeting. And I would show people that this meeting is important to me. I'm a professional. This is my brand. This is my image. And I wear a suit. This is what I do. Nowadays, I'm t-shirt and shorts because I'm living a whole new life now, right? So my brand is changing. So anyways, that's like, we're in the business of getting clients. So I always think, why would you want to turn off clients with poor clothing brand choices? Your brand can evolve. It can always change over time. I've got in the middle here the Apple logo. If you haven't seen the evolution of the Apple logo, it's really changed over time. It kind of went from different little iterations, but it's an evolution. Now, our brand, our real estate brand, the sign on the left was from when we got started, and it was actually, that was our version 2 because there was one before that. And it was more swirly, kind of luxury branding. And then we went to something a little bit more bold with a kind of a Louis Vuitton look, but modern and a little bit more modernized and clean, and changed the font from one to the other. So it's an evolution, and your whole brand, your image, your look can change as you go along. So if you aren't feeling like you've got this cohesive brand right now that you're identifying with, you can modify it, you can change it. You can do a progression of your brand, and it doesn't cost that much to do, and it's not that hard to do. So the next part of this is asking yourself, what does the client want? So what is your client actually looking for? So are they looking for a friend in this? Are they looking for someone that they feel can get the job done? Are they looking for someone who's very, very knowledgeable? Are they looking for someone who can do it all and has all the resources? And, I wrote down a few things. This is what I felt that clients were looking for when they're looking for a realtor. They're looking for somebody with confidence, someone who is professional, trustworthy, and knowledgeable, somebody who they feel that confidence. They feel that based on the communication and the brand and the verbal and nonverbal cues that I'm getting from this person, I feel comfortable that they can get the job done for me. And so I designed my brand around what I felt customers were looking for. And I felt that they were looking for these 4 things. So everything I did and everything I created was around making sure that I looked, spoke, and was confident, professional, trustworthy, and knowledgeable. And if I wasn't any of those 4 things, I would make sure I changed my brand in order to fit those 4 things. So then, of course, you have to ask yourself, is your brand giving the clients what they want? Is what you've created giving them what they want? Or was your brand designed around, I just want to be the people's realtor of, pet loving Pablo, the realtor. And that's what I want to tell everyone. And yet, there's whatever 50% of people out there that are not pet owners. So you've kind of put them off maybe, or I don't know why I'd hire the pet loving realtor if I don't have a pet, because that wouldn't really resonate with me. So what do your clients actually want? And when they go to sell their home or they go to buy a house, and are you creating that for them? It's the little things that matter. Now, we're kind of going back from, so now you've created your brand, you've created this like image, this brand, you have a pretty clear vision now of what you want to be, how you want to portray yourself, how you want to put yourself out there to people. Then you get into the marketing again. So now we're going back to marketing. Now, the materials that are going to support your brand are important. Now, I felt that, somebody was saying like, Pablo, why are your business cards so nice? I'm like, well, it's like something I'm giving them in their hand. It's a physical, tangible thing. Yeah, people don't use business cards anymore. They actually do. And when you sit down with somebody in a meeting, because in real estate, you show houses, you sit listing presentations, you're still going to look and use a business card. And that's part of your brand. And so I said, it's those little things that matter. I don't really do a lot of marketing pieces. I don't put a lot of things in people's hands. But what I do, I really wanted to ensure that the type of materials that I was using, that the the sensations that people were getting when they were looking at my cards, when they were touching the cards, when they were looking at the folders, touching the folders, when they, everything that was around them, I wanted them to have this great experience around that. So the quality of the pens, when you select pens, make sure you get good pens. Don't buy the cheap pens, get the nicer ones. They're like, they go from 4 cents a pen to like $1.50 a pen. Just get the $1.50 pens. How many pens are you to give people? Give them the $1.50 pen, right? Give them a nice pen. So why does it matter? It matters because they're actually looking and seeing these things. They touch and they see our marketing materials. And that is they're going to judge. Remember they said like they look at your picture and they're going to judge from your picture. If you give me a crappy folder for my marketing piece, I just say, well, that's one crappy thing that they've done already. And I've only seen 2 things. One was okay, one was crappy. My impression of that agent at this point is pretty low. If you've done everything perfectly up until this time and I get a crappy folder, you'll probably get through it okay. But if you want to get a higher chance of winning, you give people nice marketing materials. Think about premium visuals, touch sensations, quality thickness materials. Think of whether or not they should be, you know, soft and smooth, silky, or should they be hard and cold? Does it match your brand? So for example, there's these really cool metal business cards. Have you ever seen these? They're amazing. It's like a chunk of aluminum. They cost more than every other business card, but not much. And they're metal and they clang when they hit the counter, and they're just like super awesome cards, and you can get them laser etched and they're amazing. And I really wanted to get those for our business, but I realized it didn't fit our brand. It was cold, it was metal, it was harsh. You know, it just didn't fit our brand that we were trying to put out there. So I didn't do that, right? So you think about your logo, your business cards, everything, and it's all going to tie into your advertising so that it all has this one kind of cohesive feel. So you think about how things tie in. Even your social media posts should fit your brand and what you're trying to put out there, because this is everything that you do is part of your brand. It's all part of that non-visual communication, right? Your printouts, your listing package, your listing presentation, what does it look like? So everything can stem from your business cards. I'm a big fan of business cards. I still think that they're a great way to show people and demonstrate in their hands very quickly what you're all about. You're a premium person. Look at me. You know, you can have anybody sell your house, but look at these business cards. If I can do these right, imagine what I could do with your listing, right? So here's some of the terms that you might see with business cards. Spot UV, it's that glossy look on portions of the card. So you can see it in the swirls here where the light reflects off that. It's called spot UV. Silk or satin finish, it's when the card is kind of soft and silky, almost feels like a leather, right? Or foil, there's gold, silver, bronze, etc. And it's those where you can see where it says dark gold, coffee co, that gold color, that's a foil. You can get thicker business cards, so you can get them really thick, and you can even actually get the edges of the business cards colored to match the cards. So in this case, these ones are kind of colored this chocolate brown to match the coffee, which is kind of cool. There's plastic or metal cards. There's like unique shapes. You can get diamond cards or triangles or whatever, right? You can get all these different shapes. I'm not a huge fan of the shapes. If you're doing real estate signs, I always thought this was cool, especially in Canada. It gets so dark early. We did for a while, you can get reflective material that you print your signs on. And then at night, when people's headlights go on the sign, it totally illuminates your sign like a road sign. It's really neat. So you can talk to your sign company about things like that. It's kind of fun. And then emboss or relief or quilted patterns for textures. You can barely see it here, but they've got a slight emboss. An emboss is like a pressing. It's like they push down and create a dimple in the card. And they actually did a spot UV on top of that embossing. So you get a texture and a gloss, which is kind of cool. And in relief is where it pops up. So when the business card actually kind of has a raised portion, just gives it a little bit more texture. There's all kinds of things you can do. There's quilted cards. It's pretty cool stuff anyways. So getting started, obviously you have to design your brand. I highly recommend just working with a designer. We have a designer that we work with in-house and does all of our stuff. His name's Stefan. He's great. But you know, you can start with your logo development, and that's really where you can go to Fiverr or, you know, there's a few places like that, just logo designs, look it up online. Don't cheap out too much. Like, I know there's companies that'll do a logo design for like $10. You know, you should probably spend $100 to $200 at least on a decent logo design, something that they'll create a whole package, a brand package around it. When you're doing that, you have to decide, what do you stand for? Like, what's really important to you? What do you want to tell people with your brand, with your marketing? That I believe that, you know, every pet should have a home. And I want my brand to say that, whatever it is. You know, I believe that, for me, it was, I believe that people deserved an absolutely exceptional real estate experience. And so I delivered that with everything that we did. So our materials were exceptional. The way that we handled people was exceptional. Our knowledge was exceptional. I just wanted to be like better than everybody else and give my clients the absolute best. I felt they deserved, for what they were paying, they deserved absolute exceptional. Okay. So you have to decide, what do you stand for? What are your core values, your beliefs, your minimum standards? We talked about a few of those things earlier. And I like this. So when people describe you, they say, well, my realtor, his name is Pablo Galvez, he blank. What do you want them to say about you? You know, do you want something crazy and memorable? He's kind of like weird. He's got this teepee style hair, like really pointy, or he's got like a purple spike, but he's actually a good realtor. You know, I didn't want any excuses like, well, he's kind of weird and he's this and that, but he's actually a pretty good realtor. Like, I want them to say, oh, he was amazing, very knowledgeable, professional, and just like always got the job done, always reliable, always on time. You know, they did a great job with our marketing. That's what I wanted people to say about us. And so that was what we designed when we did that. Like I said, start with the basics, your logo, your business cards, maybe some notepads, get a few little pieces of swag made up, get your social media headers and all that. Everything should have a cohesive look. It should all tie in, so that the more people see you on social media and in print and in your emails and everything else, it should be kind of the same thing, right? And I always love this. Does your marketing make your clients say, wow? This comes from, you know, our first business card that we printed. I remember giving clients our business card. Almost every single time I gave my clients my business card, they would hold it, they would look at it, they'd flip it around, they'd touch it, they'd bend it a little bit, and they just go, wow, these are nice business cards. Like, do your clients say that when you give them a card, or do they just go, okay, business card, okay, thanks, and they put it in their pocket? So why not create something wow, that people just go, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is an incredible business card. And so I love that kind of stuff, because that just sets the whole relationship off on the right thing. So recapping about your brand is your essence. It's your personality, that emotional handshake that you have with people. When somebody takes my card and they go, wow, this is an incredible business card, that sets that whole relationship off on a really great note, doesn't it? Compared to, well, here's my card. Okay, thanks. Another card, okay, right to the garbage. Your clients are really buying your brand. And remember that marketing is just the physical embodiment of our brand. So it's you're taking your brand and you're putting it into a logo. You're taking your brand and you're putting it into your car. You're putting it into your clothes. You're putting it into your advertisement pieces or whatever. You're putting it into like all the graphic design, the colors, everything is part of it, right? And then advertising is using these two, your brand and your physical marketing pieces, to reach out and connect with potential clients. So I'll leave you with this last slide, which really kind of sums it all up. Your brand is your core. It's right at the middle. This is the essence. This is what you are all about as a real estate agent. So you have a certain feel and a certain brand. And I know that, for example, Helen is going to have a different brand than Angela is going to have, that's going to have a different brand that I'm going to have, that's going to have a different brand that, you know, someone else is going to have. So everybody's going to have their own feel, their own look, their own thing that makes them unique. But that's the core. Then you wrap around the marketing around that brand, and the marketing all has to be tied around, not just like, oh, I mean, I like luxury stuff. Don't get me wrong. I really like luxury stuff, but I'm not really like a Bentley driver, you know, like, so would my brand ever be, I'm Pablo and I drive a Bentley? No, it's not going to be that. It's not going to be pictures of me on Instagram beside fast cars and stuff. No. And that's why when I bought a car, I bought a Tesla, because I'm a tech guy. I love technology. I love computers. I love speed. I love the future. I'm like, this car is my brand. I mean, this is like, this speaks to me. And it was kind of futuristic and forward thinking and maybe a little more sustainable, a little bit more, you know, all that. And I'm like, this is exactly who I am. And so having that vehicle matched my brand. So that's your marketing. Then your advertising is the validation. This is the call to action. This is the final piece of the cake. And it's the least important out of all of these. If you can generate leads with your brand and your marketing, which is what we did, that's good enough. My golden rule for people who say, well, when should I start advertising? I usually say this: build and develop the skills, find the clients, do the, you know, look at the lead generation program that we do, look at all the different ways you can generate leads, and get on the ground and generate leads yourself. Do it without advertising at the beginning. Once you have seen success and you're ready to grow your business and take it to the next level, and you've hired the assistant, maybe you got a buyer's agent, and you're taking your business and growing it and scaling it to that next level, then you layer on advertising and you can just blow up your business. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'm going to end the screen share.